Right.
Okay. So what does that even mean for people who are trying to get into the AI space?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a really critical question, and it's something we're going to dive into more deeply. But one solution Suyig mentions, and I think it's a really interesting one, is the idea of data collaboratives.
What's that?
It's where organizations can kind of pool their data together.
Oh.
So they make these bigger and more diverse data sets.
Okay.
Imagine like a group of hospitals. What if they decided to share their data?
Okay. Yeah.
Their patient data. Make it anonymous, of course.
Right. Right.
But imagine if they use that to train an AI model that could like detect diseases, earlier.
Right. So you could catch them earlier.
Yeah. And more accurately.
That's a really interesting concept.
I think so too.
It makes you think about like the ethics though.
Absolutely.
Like what about privacy and who owns the data?
Absolutely. We could have a whole other conversation about the ethics of using AI.
Totally.
But for now, let's move on to another interesting point that Suyog makes. He talks about, how what you need to know to be successful in the digital age, it's changing.
Okay.
He says that in today's like Instagram era, visuals and like your personality, those matter more than ever.
Oh, wow.
Maybe even more than coding skills.
So he's saying that being cool, like that's the new thing.
That's what it sounds like.
Oh.
And that it might actually be more valuable than all the technical stuff.
More valuable than being able to code.
It's an interesting argument. And you know what?
Yeah.
It kind of reflects what we see happening with influencers and like how people are monetizing attention.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. People with millions of followers, they can build these huge careers just by making engaging content and having a really strong personal brand.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
So is he right? Like, has coding taken a backseat to like charisma?
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Okay.
I mean, look, technical skills are still really important,
Yeah.
but I think how those skills are valued and like how they work with other skills, yeah, that's changing.
Okay.
Being able to communicate, market yourself, build a brand.
Yeah.
Those things are becoming even more critical, especially in the tech world, because let's face it, it's a world where a lot of people think, oh, it's all very technical, and it can be a little awkward.
Yeah. It's like the picture that everybody has in their head of like the programmer,
Right.
Hunched over the computer.
All alone.
Yeah.
In the dark.
Fueled by pizza and energy drinks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking some language that only other programmers understand.
Exactly.
Which, speaking of, Seo actually dives into these stereotypes a little bit.
Yeah.
He does. And with, his usual flair.
I bet.
He describes programmers as like these creatures of delayed gratification.
Oh.
They skip the parties, they work long hours. They just want to be like in telepathic communion with their computers.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So he's definitely playing up the stereotypes.
He is, but there's a little bit of truth in there.
Right.
The tech industry is known for being demanding.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a lot of programmers put in the time,
Yeah.
the energy.
Yeah.
They push themselves to the limit.
Right.
To meet deadlines and to make those breakthroughs.
Yeah, but is that like work till you drop mentality? I mean,
No.
is that really sustainable?
It's a good question. I mean, is it even necessary in the long run?
Right.
I think that's something that a lot of people in tech are asking themselves. I mean, hard work is important.
Yeah.
And being dedicated, that's important too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people are realizing that you need work-life balance.
Right.
You need to care about mental health.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, a lot of companies are moving away from that I'm always working kind of culture.
Oh, that's good.
And they're trying to be more supportive.
That's great.
Create a better work environment for everyone.
It's encouraging because it seems like the tech world is realizing that you can like love your job.
Yeah.
But you don't have to like sacrifice your well-being.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
you know what? It actually reflects how work is changing in general.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, technology is automating so many tasks.
Mm-hmm.
It's reshaping industries.
Yeah.
So the skills that are in demand, the qualities that people are looking for, those are changing too.
That's true. So let's go back to what Suog was saying. Is coding still like the golden ticket?
Right. Like, is it still the path to success?
Well, he thinks things have shifted a lot.
Okay.
He thinks that no-code solutions, the race for AI data, the focus on content creation, all of that, he sees it as a major disruption.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
not the same path that it used to be.
like it's changed the game.
It has. And he even says that people like him, he calls himself a nerd. He actually uses that word.
He thinks that they're actually at a disadvantage.
Really?
Yeah, he does. He thinks that people who are more charismatic, better looking, have like social skills, those are the people who are going to be more valuable than the technical people.
Oh, wow. So that's a pretty pessimistic view.
Yeah, he's not very optimistic, is he?
No.
But, it's just one person's view.
Right.
I mean, he makes good points
Mhm.
about the challenges, but maybe he's being a little extreme in his conclusion.
Maybe. So, for our listener,
Yeah.
what does this all mean if you're thinking about a career in tech or maybe you're already working in the field?
Right.
Should people be worried about losing their jobs to AI?
Yeah.
Or to these no-code platforms?
Right. Or maybe you should just ditch everything and start a TikTok channel.
Right. What do you think?
I wouldn't say you need to abandon all your tech skills.
Okay.
And definitely don't try to become an influencer overnight.
Right.
But I think what it means is that to really do well in tech, you need a broader set of skills.
Right.
Things like communicating clearly, being able to work on a team, understanding how businesses work.
Right.
Those are all important.
So it sounds like those days of just being like a tech genius and, being amazing at coding, that's not enough anymore.
It's part of it, but it's not the whole story.
Okay, so what are some of these specific skills that people should be working on?
Okay, well, let's see. Problem solving is a big one.
Yeah.
And critical thinking, being creative, communicating well,
Okay.
all really important.
Those things you need no matter what you do.
Yeah, exactly. Like no matter what career you're thinking about.
It's like a set of tools
Right.
that you can use anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think people underestimate the power of networking.
Okay.
Building those relationships with people.
Yeah.
Go to conferences, join groups online, reach out to people you admire. You can get so much from doing that.
It's all about having those people who can support you and who you can learn from.
Yeah. And remember, tech is huge. There are so many different paths.
Absolutely.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Right.
So try things out, explore, see what interests you, see what you're good at.
That makes sense. So he also talked about the importance of data in AI. And it kind of seems like unless you work for one of these giant companies, you're kind of out of luck.
Yeah, that was kind of his point, right? He thinks access to data is a big problem.
Yeah.
Especially for individuals or small companies that are trying to, do something in AI.
Right.
But you know what? There are some solutions out there.
Okay, good.
Like there are open source data sets.
Okay.
And these data collaboratives, the ones we were talking about earlier.
Right, where people are sharing.
Yeah, they're sharing their data. So it's not all doom and gloom.
That's good. So we talked about a lot.
We have no code, AI, data, even what it means to be a programmer.
Right. And Siog, he definitely gave us some things to think about. But, we got to remember.
It's just one perspective,
Yeah.
Based on his own experience.
Maybe his frustrations, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
His insights are really helpful. I think it helps us understand some of the trends that are happening. But I don't think people should feel discouraged just because he's maybe a little pessimistic.
Yeah. Okay, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive into Siog's article, let's see if we can, sum up the key takeaways for the listener.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll leave them with some final thoughts to kind of ponder. Okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's interesting, how these stereotypes of programmers, how they might be affecting people's career choices.
Yeah.
If people buy into that idea of the antisocial, just coding all the time.
White coding machine.
Yeah, they might not even try it,
Yeah.
even if they would be good at it.
I think that's true. And I think those stereotypes can really hold people back.
Right.
Yeah, there are definitely some programmers who are more introverted.
Right.
But to be successful, you really need to be able to work with other people.
Yeah.
You need to communicate.
Yeah.
You're working with other developers, designers, product managers, even clients sometimes.
Right. So it's not just you sitting in a dark room coding all day.
It's not like the movies.
Right. And that actually connects to another thing that Suyug talks about. It's this idea that programmers are all about delayed gratification.
Oh, yeah.
He says they're skipping parties, working late, putting everything off for some future payoff.
It's that classic startup founder image, right? Living on ramen.
Yeah.
Sleeping on their office couch.
Just so they can build the next big thing.
Yeah, there's definitely some truth to that.
Right.
Tech is demanding.
Yeah.
People put in the hours, but honestly, that's not sustainable.
No. So is that delayed gratification thing? Is that just a recipe for burnout?
I think if you take it too far, it definitely can be.
Okay.
But I think there's more awareness now about work-life balance,
Yeah, that's good.
about mental health. I mean, a lot of companies are shifting away from that always-on mentality.
Right.
And they're trying to create, like, better work environments.
Yeah, that's good.
More supportive.
Yeah.
They realize that people need a break.
So it sounds like the tech world is figuring out that, yeah, you can be passionate about your job, but you don't have to, like, burn yourself out to be successful.
Right. It's about finding that balance.
Yeah. And this shift towards a more balanced life, I mean, it seems like it goes along with the other changes that are happening with work in general.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said, technology is automating a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
And it's reshaping how we work. So the skills that we need to be successful, those are changing, too.
Right. Okay, so back to Seog's main point. Like, is coding really the golden ticket anymore?
Right. Well, he believes that the landscape is totally different now.
Okay.
He thinks that no code, AI, content creation, all those things, they're like major disruptors.
Yeah, it changed the game.
It really has.
Yeah.
And he even says that people like him, he calls himself a nerd.
Yeah.
He thinks they're actually at a disadvantage.
Really? Why?
Well, he thinks that charisma, good looks, social skills, like all of that, those are the things that are going to matter more now.
More than technical skills. Wow. That's pretty negative, don't you think?
It is. It is. But, it's his opinion.
Right.
And maybe it's based on, what he's experienced.
Yeah.
He's maybe a little frustrated.
Yeah. So for our listener then, what does this all mean if you're thinking about a career in tech? Or if you're already working in tech, should you be worried?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't tell anyone to abandon their technical skills.
Okay.
Or to suddenly become an influencer.
Right.
But I do think it means that people need more than just technical skills.
Okay.
Like being able to communicate well, working in a team, understanding business.
Right, the bigger picture. So it's not just about being the coding whiz anymore.
Right.
Okay, so what are those specific skills then?
Well, problem solving is important. Critical thinking, creativity.
Yeah.
And we talk about communication, being able to work well with others.
Yeah. Like, those are valuable no matter what you do.
Exactly. I mean, any job, any career.
So it's like having this toolkit of essential skills.
I like that. It is.
And then you can use them in different situations.
Oh, right. I also think people shouldn't underestimate the power of networking.
Yeah.
Making connections.
Yeah. Like going to conferences, joining online community. You can learn so much from other people.
It's like building your own support system.
Right, and learning from others. Plus, the tech world is huge.